Tonight, okay, I know you've heard of the no spin zone, but right now, the Obama campaign is in an all spin zone. It is excuse after excuse after excuse. The president's supporters are ramping it up, jumping on the excuse bandwagon. And if you thought Vice President Al Gore's altitude excuse was wild and way out there, well, the latest. Some now insisting the president didn't get a fair shake because he didn't have a teleprompter. Yes, you heard right, a teleprompter for a presidential debate.
How unfair was it for the debate commission to not allow the president to use his teleprompter?
I didn't know about that, but it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound fair.
Think the debate commission should have allowed the president to use his teleprompter?
Yes, I do feel that he should have been allowed to use that.
Do you think it was fair for the debate commission to not let him use his teleprompter?
That's totally unfair, actually. I mean, why? Why would you not let him use his teleprompter? You know?
Yeah. You think it was fair for the debate commission to not allow the president to use his teleprompter last night?
I don't know. I don't think it was necessarily unfair.
Sometimes you can get nervous, so it might be nice to have something
to
back you up.
Sure it was unfair.
Do you think it was unfair for the debate commission to not allow the president to use the teleprompter?
I thought it was kind of sketchy for both parties involved. You know, there was a lot of, confusion with the prompter guy or whatever. So, I just thought it was a little unprofessional in that sense.
Do you think it would have helped President Obama if the debate commission would have allowed him to use his teleprompter?
I didn't know he wasn't able to use his teleprompter. I was unaware of that. I think it probably would have gone a little bit smoother for him. That's what they rely on about, why they have speechwriters.
Do you think he should have been allowed to use it?
I think so. I think they all should. I mean, who's going to memorize an hour and a half debate?
Why do you think the debate commission didn't allow President Obama to use his teleprompter?
Don't really know why they didn't let him use his teleprompter, but...
Was that fair?
I don't think it was fair, and I don't think, he got enough opportunity to speak at times. They would keep trying to cut him short.
I think he was holding back a little bit.
Holding back? Why do you think he used a strategy to hold back and let Mitt Romney look so good?
Because this is only the first debate, and he has to be careful what he says. So.
Do you think it was fair for the debate commission to not let President Obama use his teleprompter?
No. I mean, you could tell that he was struggling, but what can you do?
Think it was fair for the debate commission to not allow the president to use his teleprompter?
I didn't know that.
Think he should be allowed to use it next time?
Shouldn't they both be able to?
Okay, that video was taken yesterday after President Obama's rally at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Thanks to Jeremy Siegel of Breitbart.com. So what about all these debate excuses? Former senior advisor to President Reagan, Pat Buchanan, joins us.
You went to Madison. You've got some explaining to do.
Wow. I didn't think you wanted to laugh at me.
The debate, they're unhappy he didn't have his teleprompter. Okay. Go ahead, Greta.
Your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, good heavens, these are college kids, and thinking someone ought to have basically should be able to sit up there and cheat with a teleprompter and read it off there for a debate. Do they not know what a debate is? An unscripted, open debate in American politics. We've had them since Jack Kennedy and Richard Nixon in 1952.
I don't think they've thought it through whether or not what they thought that they'd ask the president a question. We'd take a 20-minute break, we'll come up with an answer, load the teleprompter, and then come back on and then answer it.
That's unbelievable. These are Madison. Whatever. I mean, I was just kidding. It's an outstanding school, and these are bright kids there. Not good, Greta.
Not good. All right. Well, let's go to. Well, okay. Since we made, let's go to the former Vice President of the United States. He suggested that the reason might be is because Denver is a mile-high city, and the altitude was high, and so that may have somehow made it difficult because President Obama just arrived in Denver that afternoon.
Is he aware that the president gave his acceptance speech in 2008 in an open stadium in Denver? It didn't seem to bother him there. He did a great job on that open. In Denver, I don't know what the vice president is thinking, but really it has. Let me say this, Greta. I've never seen it, but almost expected it. The next morning, it was all out. A pack of lies. Romney had told lies. He changed his position. He misrepresented things. He got his facts wrong, and it came down to a simple question: if he did that, the president had 4 minutes more than Governor Romney. I understand. Why didn't the president call Governor Romney out on that? If he said, wait a minute, you said this here, and now you're saying that now. Am I understanding you're changing your position right up here, Governor? You certainly can, but you ought to say so.
You know, I think it would have even been better to say, look, I had a lousy night last night. Good thing there are two more debates, and I'm out on the trail now, but lousy night last night. I mean, I think that would have been better, but his supporters going out with these excuses that are silly. I mean, by the way, I should note that we've done a little research, and the altitude for the next two debates, Boca Raton is 16 feet, and for Hempstead, New York is 58 feet.
16 feet, you're almost underwater down there.
Almost underwater there. Yeah. A little rain and we'll be underwater. But it's stunning, some of these excuses.
Well, it really is. But look, you know, I will say this: you are getting a certain measure of honesty out of, you know, usually people say when the Reagan-Mondale thing, some Reagan folks said, well, we won the first debate. You're getting total admission on the part of almost every journalist I've seen, liberal, moderate, conservatives. Barack Obama did a lousy job, and Mitt Romney, where did that fella come from? Full of spirit and drive and energy. I think you're getting that on all sides. And what you're getting now, however, is explanations and excuses for why Barack Obama did as bad as he did. And I think, you know, a lot of them just say that, you know, the president didn't show up. But the question is, why did he do that bad? He had to know. He's got in a 90-minute debate. You know, I don't understand it. Some people say, you know, he hasn't had any press conferences. He's not up to that. But he has. I'm sure he saw film of Governor Romney in his own debates coming at him, people in that same way, and to be utterly unprepared.
Well, Britt Hume tweeted tonight, and Britt Hume isn't here with us, but I'll read his tweet. He says, has it occurred to anyone that one reason the president had a rocky debate is not that he performed poorly, but that he has a weak case?
He does have a very weak case, and he's on defensive, unlike 2008 when he was on offense. But he knows that. He's going in there, and he's got to have an answer when Governor Romney gives him all these figures that we all know the governor's used before, and to come back on the governor and come back strong, and he didn't do it. He seemed unprepared. He seemed, some people say, he seemed like he's bored, he's weary with the job, he's tired, he was sullen. He didn't feel like he wanted to be there. He doesn't like the debate. All of these things, I think, played into it. But, I mean, I think the president's got to realize that this is the worst debate performance just about I've ever seen.
Well, he's very fortunate in that today sort of changed the narrative in the media to a large extent of the jobs numbers. That in fact that went down to 7.8%. So people are talking about that, and it has changed. It has somehow moved the discussion a little bit off his debate performance and more on this whole discussion about the jobs.
Well, things do move on, but let me say this: 7.8% is the exact rate Barack Obama inherited, right? And he says, I inherited the worst situation since the Great Depression. Every single month since he's been in office, unemployment has been higher than the worst situation since the Great Depression. In other words, we are now right back where he started from, and every month has been worse. How do you say you had a successful economy when the whole time of your administration has been worse than George Bush's? I mean, that 7.8, is that the best month? It's the best month he had. And what have we done? You have tripled the money supply. He's had the stimulus package. You've had all of these things done. You've had 4 straight $1 trillion deficits, and we are right back at the starting line. On the economy, this is a failed president. There's no doubt about it.
All right, well, the polls are out today, at least some polls, and right now we're starting to see in post-debate polls that the impact of Governor Romney's win. Right now it looks like Governor Romney is closing the gap in several swing states. According to a new Rasmussen poll, in Ohio, President Obama is leading Governor Romney by just 1 percentage point, 50% to 49%. In Virginia, Governor Romney leads President Obama 49 to 48%, and in Florida, Governor Romney also leading President Obama this time by 2 percentage points, 49% to 47%. Of course, all three are in the margin of error, but they do show gains by Governor Romney. So it appears he got somewhat of a bounce coming out of this debate.
He's got somewhat of a bounce, but this is like a great wave, Greta, what he had Wednesday night. And I think it's a vitally important event, and I think we're not going to see how far the wave rolls up the beach until around Tuesday, when all of the polls are taken post-debate. But if these numbers hold for the others, especially Ohio, where the governor has really been down about 8-7 points, if he's tied then or ahead in Ohio after that and Virginia and Florida, it is a brand new ball game entirely. But keep your eye on Ohio because I think that's the critical state, and it's the toughest one for the governor right now.
Well, I think what's sort of interesting about this year compared to at least maybe 8 years ago or farther back is that the early voting's already started.
Right.
So that if you get even if he did well now, he's got a chance of getting some good numbers off tonight, and then of course if he gets clobbered by President Obama the next debate, he may not quite feel the pain if people change their minds.
Well, that's what is really crucial. Is early voting was taking place when Barack Obama was ahead in most polls by high single digits. Governor Romney stepped in here Wednesday, and you're exactly right. Since Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I have to think that the early voting going on then is tremendously to Governor Romney's benefit. And you're right. But we'll find out next Tuesday or something like that in next week. But this suggests one thing Governor Romney's got to do. They got to keep going. They got to keep their foot on the accelerator. He had a terrific victory, but I wouldn't rest at all. I think, looking forward to this thing next week, next Thursday night. That's going to be important. And this second debate's going to be important. And I heard earlier someone say, Governor Romney really, Obama should be favored. He's good at that format, moving around. But how does he come out and attack Romney? They're going to tell him to do it. Once you start talking about Bain Capital, that reduces
the
president.
I actually thought he was smart not to do that the other night because he wants to look presidential, and he doesn't want to get fingerprints on being sort of petty and going after someone. And I think the same is true of Governor Romney vis-a-vis President Obama. And they can do that all through their ads and flood the markets and through the super PACs. They don't feel like dirty.
Exactly. If the president goes at the 47% and Bain Capital and the tax returns, it diminishes the president, it reduces him from the presidential level, and it makes him look petty, and it makes him look not like his greatest asset is that people say, he's a genuinely nice guy who's been doing his best. He gets into that mode, and I think he risks his most priceless asset. But what does he do? Go back to Britt Hume's point. He's got a tough, almost impossible record to defend. In terms of, was it a good economy the last 4 years? It's been the worst economy we've had in the lifetime of most Americans, and the numbers are there. And so how does he defend it if Romney keeps coming back, smiling, and going after it?
I think the smartest thing he can do is get out and communicate to the voters and get out there and talk to them, because I think that's his strength.
What does he communicate, do you think?
Well, look, he still gets the crowds. He can get thousands and thousands of people.
He's got to be able to say,
and he's got a ground game.
If you elect me, it's going to be far better in the next 4 years than the last 4 years, and far better than what this fellow Romney's going to give you. That's what he's got to say or convince the country of.
Pat, thank you.
Okay.